Yes, everybody, welcome back to Talking Wolves. There's a big match preview today as we are looking at Wolves' quarter-final clash in the FA Cup up against Coventry City. Yes, we're in the last eight of the competition. A great feeling to be here once again and a big opportunity for Wolves to get to Wembley once again to right the wrongs of the 2018-19 season. Obviously, the last time we got to the FA Cup semi-final. So fingers crossed it's a much better campaign and season for us. And it is a very interesting game coming up against Coventry City. Sat in the Championship right now. Wolves have got a pretty decent record in recent years in the FA Cup against lower league opposition. But Coventry definitely not a team that we can take for granted. They've got quality. And obviously it'll be an interesting tie as well. Before we kick off though, be sure to go and check out our channel partners over at Football Prizes. Another Wolves prize up for grabs. This week it's a signed Gary O'Neill shirt. O'Neill #1 on the back. So if you want to get involved in that, a link in the top of the description down below. And of course, later on in the video we will have the commentary perspective as well. But it'll be very interesting to hear the words of Gary O'Neill. His pre-match press conference will be Friday early afternoon. So any major news that comes from that, I'll do a video. I've got a big video planned for tomorrow, but any major team news will come within that video. And obviously at Talking Wolves on all the socials if there's anything of note. The main absences really that we're going to have a look at is Pedro Neto. He pulled up again at the weekend. We don't know how serious that is for now, but you would assume he's going to be out for this game against Coventry. Hwang Hee-chan probably isn't going to be ready. I think after the international break is more realistic for him. But one that is very, very interested in is going to be Matheus Cunha because it was reported last week, I think it was just after the Fulham game, just after or the Friday night, that Cunha, they're going to be aiming for him to be in contention for this game against Coventry. I highly doubt Wolves will risk it to start him, but he may well be in and around the squad for the game against Coventry on Saturday. Be a huge boost for Wolves. Of course, we've got quality all throughout the pitch, but sort of the attacking numbers at the moment are a little bit more limited. Obviously, Jean-Ric Bellegarde came off injured as well, so it remains to be seen what the situation is with him at the moment. Hopefully, again, it's not too serious and he can take part in the squad for Saturday as well. But ultimately, it's going to be a cracking game. I don't think it's going to be straightforward. I think Coventry will make it quite difficult. I think Coventry will sit deep and frustrate Wolves. And ultimately for us, a little bit like the Sheffield United game, we've got to try and get a goal as early as we can. And that means Coventry will have to come out, probably open up a little bit more. And that's where Wolves can really capitalise on things really. It happened against West Brom. We're very open in the second half in the end. Obviously, we had to work hard, dig deep at times, but got that early goal. And ultimately, that's what we're expecting again in this game. Coventry, I mean, the whole ground is sold out for this one, but Coventry are having a massive allocation. I'd like for anybody, if they know, the last time, I think Cov got about 5,500. So that is the lower Steve Bull and I think the North Bank quadrants as well. I can't remember. I'm sure maybe Manchester United in that FA Cup quarter-final also had that. If anyone else can remember the last time there was a crowd, an away attendance of that high, let me know in the comment section down below because obviously I would be intrigued. But in terms of a starting lineup, predicted lineup for this one, I think it's going to be pretty much how we started the second half on Saturday. I think Sarr will keep his place in goal for sure. I think Aït-Nouri and Semedo, if they're fit, have got to start as well. The back three, I think Totti, Santi Bueno for me has got to start as well alongside Max Kilman. I know Dawson may well be back fit for this one, but Bueno has got to start. It'd be so harsh if he's dropped. Tommy Doyle, João Gomez and Mario Lemina as the midfielders. On the graphic, I'll put Lemina as the left winger because he deployed that position last week and I just thought he was absolutely fantastic there. And Nathan Fraser getting a start again with Pablo Sarabia. So I think that's what the team will look like. I'm hoping that Gary O'Neill does give us some good news in the pre-match press conference in regards to fitness and players coming back to to fitness and so on and in the squad. And maybe we'll finally see some opportunities for younger players off the bench. If Wolves do have a comfortable lead at some point, maybe the Noah Laminas might get the chance. Tawanda Chirewa might get a little bit more minutes as well in the Wolves shirt at Molineux. But looking forward to it, guys. Now, I spoke to a big Coventry fan, Claudio, yesterday to give his thoughts on the game and give the Coventry perspective ahead of this big FA Cup clash. So then, guys, delighted to be alongside Claudio from the Sky Blue Fans TV to get the Coventry perspective ahead of this big FA Cup quarter final this weekend. Claudio, thank you very much for jumping on Talking Wolves. How are you keeping, my friend?
I'm good, thanks. Thanks for inviting me on.
No, it's all right. I mean, we had a quick chat earlier on. I could tell, obviously, you got a great love for Coventry, loads of history between you and obviously the club as well. But this is an interesting clash. I was just saying as well, for me, obviously, I'm a much younger football fan. The last time we played you guys was in League One, quite a while ago now. And we've been in sort of different divisions and sort of avoided each other for quite a while. But a lot of Wolves fans watching this will have an eye on the Championship, but won't know all the ins and outs of what's been going on at Coventry over the last few years. So, in a few minutes, can you summarise the ups and downs of Coventry City over the last sort of 5 or 6 years?
Oh, wow. I mean, the worst times would be not having a ground and having to play at St Andrews.
Yeah,
Obviously, a bit before that, being at Northampton, where we last played you when you got promoted out of League One. In fact, not having our stadium twice wasn't great. An ownership that wasn't really engaged with the fans. The best thing they ever did was get Mark Robbins back, because in the 7 years he's been there, it's just been ridiculous, really, what he's done on very little money. And it's only this season we've actually spent more than we've ever spent in since the days of the Premier League, which is 22, 23 years ago.
mm,
And it's been a long time. So yeah, it's difficult because we sort of worked our way through, got back into the Championship. First season back, it was consolidation, and then since then we've just been finishing higher than our budget, basically, which is what our aim is. Obviously, the playoff final last year. Yeah, I mean that's so frustrating because had we got a full squad, I think we may have nicked it.
yeah,
But hopefully this season we might sneak in again and see what
yeah. I
happens.
mean, yeah, you guys are doing again brilliantly. Eighth place as we speak in the table. You know, a point off the playoffs. What do you think the strengths have been for Coventry this season, Claudio? I mean, I'm looking at the stats, scoring a decent amount of goals, not conceding a lot of goals as well. You know, what's Mark Robbins doing to get this team tick?
Um, it's basically a camaraderie. I think every squad he's had, it's like it feels like a great big family almost. I don't know. It's just I don't know. He's done it, and he's built 3 or 4 teams now already in 7 years. I mean, we've had 11, 12 new players this season. We lost Jokeres and Hamer, which were big losses for us.
Yeah,
It took us a while to get going. Every time he says, just trust the process, it will come good. And we'll say after about 12, 13 matches, we could see the slowly starting to click. It's not perfect, it's far from perfect, but it's way, way better than what it was at the start of the season. I mean, I think we may have lost 4 or 5 on the bounce at one stage at the start, and we were thinking, oh, this is terrible.
yeah,
The 2 lads we signed couldn't hit a barn door, and now one's got 14, one's got 12. That helps, but it's steady growth, isn't it? That's the only way
yeah,
of doing it. We haven't got the amenities. We haven't got the money to just go. Yeah, let's spend 100 million. It's not going to happen.
mm.
We're basically spending the money we got from Jokeres and Hamer, and I think they've spent pretty well actually. They've brought in some good players.
Yeah, you see a lot where clubs have almost like a hangover, especially after a playoff final loss. And I think, sort of like you said there, a couple of losses on the bounce, you could have been figured at the start of the season this is going to be one to forget. But the fact that Mark Robbins has got you in an FA Cup quarter final and still in the conversation for the playoffs is amazing. Before we talk about your FA Cup run as well, Claudio, Jokeres is an interesting one because Wolves were linked with him for a long time, and he's been brilliant in Portugal as well. I don't know if you know if he were to go, because I've seen some ridiculous fees bandished about him. Are Coventry getting a little cut of that if he's sold on by Sporting?
Apparently 15%.
Which could
So
be a nice little bit of money for you guys,
yeah,
possibly.
yeah. It's funny because he wasn't very good at Swansea. Brighton
Mm.
were keen to get rid of him for £1 million. We signed him and thought, it's only £1 million. It's not going to hurt, is it? The first 19 matches, and he scored 3 goals, and then all of a sudden, I don't know what happened, but he was like a dog with a ball. He just couldn't get the ball off him at times. He's just
Yeah,
full on force up front, and I mean we've missed that really this season because we sort of adopted a different style, but he he's got massive potential still with the right sort of coaching. I mean, the Portuguese league is a bit weird because you got Porto, Sporting, Benfica, and that's about it, really, isn't it?
yeah,
I mean, I'm not even sure it's about as good as the Scottish Premier League, I think. You've got the 3 main teams, and they're playing in front of small crowds. It's not massive, But still, it's about 30 goals he's got, I think, and
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's great for us. I mean, a lot of our fans have been keeping note how he's getting on, mainly because they're thinking if he gets another goal, that's another million. If he gets another goal, that's another million. But
Yeah.
all the best. I mean, to him, he came to us. We didn't expect anything. For 2 seasons, he just ploughed us up the league, really. And last season, him and Hamer are the reasons we got into the playoff in the end.
Yeah, I mean, Hamer was another one that I don't think we were directly linked with him, but he was a player that I was intrigued to see. You know, the fact that you guys didn't come up, who was going to get him, and he came to Molineux a couple of weeks ago. I mean, Sheffield United as a whole were really poor, but he didn't have a fantastic game, if I'm honest, either. But obviously, moving on from Gyökeres, in terms of Coventry squad, the players and the team that are going to be playing on Saturday, who are the key players for you, Claudio, that Wolves really need to be looking out for?
Well, if Callum O'Hare plays, he's one of them, obviously. We then got Ben Sheaf back from injury, steady, plays like a deep line midfield player, but he's calm on the ball. You got the two, I mean, Hadji Wright and Ellis Sims, if they get it together, are very dangerous. They're very awkward, they're very big, but the shooting can be all over the place. And I think Jordan Strachan used the expression about Darren Huckabee years ago. 1 minute it's a carpet beater, next minute is a wall beater. It's that kind of it's that scenario.
Yeah.
Casey Palmer, another one on his game, very dangerous, likes to carry the ball, which is what we need because sometimes we're a bit static in getting forward. We don't get forward quick enough, and that's what we need to do, I think, Saturday. But yeah, Milan down as if he plays as a wing back, another good is he apparently was the fastest player in Dutch football last season, and
Yeah.
he's quick. He is quick, but we need more of an end product from him. And we got young Josh Eccles, which he gets. It seems like if you get a local lad, people either love them or they get more flat than anybody else. And he's a Marmite player basically. 50% of the crowd love him. 50% aren't that too fussed about him. I don't think. But I reckon he's a decent lad. If he plays as a right wing back, I think we'll play three at the back. I think that's his best position at the minute. So
That'll be interesting, yeah. Because Wolves, I would assume Wolves will play like three at the back as well. So that'd be interesting to see if Coventry match them.
If you're doing
Yeah.
three at the back, we will do three at the back then. I can't see
Yeah.
because we're playing with three at the back at the start of the season and it wasn't working because for me, you need the wing backs to support it. And we're not really a team where we've got wing backs that fly up the pitch and then come back again. We tend to end up being five at the back. We're not really doing the attacking part that great. And so he reverted. He went then to four at the back, and that's where we started picking up results. Now, what's happened is Sakamoto's got injured, so we've lost our right winger basically, and I think he's just being cautious and going, well, we haven't got anybody to cover that position. We'll go three at the back again and two wing backs. I mean, Sakamoto's a massive loss for us. Such a good player. I mean, he's typical Japanese player, all energy, never stops, never gives in, tricky on the ball. I wish we had 3 or 4 Sakamotos in our team, to be honest. He's a really good player.
Yeah. I've seen, obviously, Coventry's running so far. I mean, a massive win over Oxford, beating them 6-2 in the third round. In the fourth round, going to a replay with Sheffield Wednesday, but smashing them 4-1 in the replay. And then, obviously, in the fifth round, getting probably the draw that everybody wanted in Maidstone, but beating them quite comfortably as well. I understand Mark Robins did a little bit of rotation in some of those games, but I mean, I look towards this game and then next week, Claudio, it's an international break. You would assume, and I think you'd hope as a fan as well, is Mark Robins going to be going full strength for this one?
I'd like to think so. I think everyone said the same thing. I presume Wolves will probably do the same as well. I've got nothing to lose, have you?
Exactly. Yeah.
I think you mentioned all those games. I think Josh Eccles is the only player who started in all those matches, all 4 games. So he rotated quite a lot. The other common denominator is that they all played in the shade of yellow. So,
okay.
so that's what we're hanging on at the minute. So, Wolves playing gold, don't they? We're kind of yellow. That'll do.
I was going to say, because on our podcast we discussed it, and one of the other guys he's got a friend who's a Coventry fan, and there were some fans, or there was that possibility that Coventry may rotate or may pick a rotate team because they want to be focusing on the playoffs. But I think if you've got an international break next week, you've got that time to recover then, really. And for you guys, and I don't even mean this in a disrespectful way to Wolves. I think Coventry, with the form that you're in the league, can look at this game and think if we play our game, we've got a chance against Wolves. I don't know if that's a sort of
Well,
what you guys have been saying as well.
I'd imagine when you're looking at the draw, I'm thinking I don't want to play. Obviously, I wanted the worst team left in the competition when we got Maidstone because I just thought let's get in the quarter final, one game
Yeah,
from Wembley. That's all I'm thinking. And so
yeah,
when we got Maidstone, I thought it was fantastic. It's a perfect draw. You know, you couldn't ask for anything else. That's brilliant. I mean, obviously they weren't happy because their manager wanted to play you guys, didn't he? He
yeah,
wanted to
yeah,
lock
yeah.
you,
Big
wasn't
George, yeah,
it?
yeah,
Yeah. So we get Maidstone, we do the business, and then I looked at the draw and I thought, wow, in all honesty, I'm looking at Wolves and Brighton here because
Mm.
I don't want to play Man City. I don't want to play Liverpool. I'm not interested in Man United either. Newcastle, whoever, Chelsea, whoever's left in it. Leicester, played them twice already this season. Wolves and Brighton, and preferably at home. I mean, that's the only disappointment. I'd like the
yeah,
home draw, mainly because I have more of our fans there, basically, and it's always been a scramble for tickets. So when we got you guys, it's the same scenario. You probably felt the same. It's probably the best draw you could get out of what's left.
mm,
Um,
yeah,
and it doesn't mean that either team are rubbish. It's just that's the way it is, isn't it?
yeah.
You know,
I think
so
Yeah, I was going to say, I think we were very, similar sort of thing. I think you look at the draw, Coventry, on paper, the lowest ranked team left in the competition. Not to say, you're not a bad team because I think you picked up results against Leicester recently as well. But I think the home thing was key for us. The fact that we got the home draw as well. I think Wolves fans are sort of rubbing their hands together with that because up until the new year, we were phenomenal at home. We had a little bit of a wobble, but we're back to back wins at Molineux again now. But I was saying to you when we spoke earlier, Claudio, as well. I think it's 5,500 allocation Coventry have got sold out. I'd assume very quickly as well.
yeah.
That's the biggest allocation I can remember for a long, long time that an away club have got. So I'm really hoping, and I'm sure you're the same, that the atmosphere is going to be amazing on Saturday as well.
Oh, it's going to be nuts. It's going to be absolutely nuts. Um, with the last 7 seasons, it's incredible. We've gone. If you got to think, we've got record season ticket sales, which, um, by comparison to a lot of clubs, won't seem a lot, but we've got 19,000 season ticket holders, which,
That's still a good amount.
yeah, it's the most we've had since 71, I think, 70 or 72, 1972. So it's huge. It's huge. Our average gates this season is going to be about 24,500, which is the most we've had for 50 years as an average gate.
Mm,
This is incredible. And there's a good feel factor around the club. So away tickets are a premium, absolute premium. No matter where we go, they seem to sell out, which is
yeah,
fantastic. And I think our players feed off that as well, which is good. So it should be a top atmosphere. It's got to be. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it's a really good Midland derby.
yeah.
And it's. I know we haven't played each other in a while, but as I was talking to you earlier about the rivalry in the late 60s, early 70s, we weren't playing anybody else apart from Wolves, really, in the Midlands. Uh,
Mm,
the Baggies were on a tour of the lower divisions, and so were the Villa, and Blues weren't much to talk about. It was just us two. And then, we went our separate ways, so to
yeah.
speak.
Yeah. No,
One
yeah, I think it's going to be a cracking game. I am really looking forward to it, and it's interesting. I think obviously Coventry and Wolves. I think both clubs have got a lot to still look forward to, regardless of the result. You guys have got the playoff push. We've still in the conversation maybe for qualifying for European football. If I had to offer you now, Claudio, I'll give you a ticket for a free win here. You get through to the semi-final, or I'll give you a ticket that Coventry are definitely finishing the playoffs. Which one would you take out of the two? Semi-final or playoffs?
You'd have to go for playoffs.
Mm,
You'd have
I
to,
think so
yeah.
as well in your situation. Yeah.
But you see, I've had a little jokey scenario. I said we could actually say we got to the FA Cup final and then won it. We could be in the Europa League but playing in the
The
Championship,
championship. Yeah.
and then win the Europa League and then be in the Champions League but be in the Championship as well, which is bizarre, isn't it? But the cup final and the playoff final are back to back. They're on the same weekend.
Imagine that.
It,
But I
well,
wonder what would happen if they that.
well, the trouble is, after the playoff final, the stadium's being handed over to UEFA for the Champions League final the following Saturday. So they take hold of the stadium for the whole week and do their mock up. They do all their stuff to it. So the chances are the playoff final might end up being midweek or something, or the
Yeah,
week
it would. Yeah.
after. I don't know how they're going to do it because they can't do back to back. You could have that scenario that Leicester or Cov are in cup final and maybe in the playoff.
It depends because, well, it's possible because if the semi-final draw goes a
Yeah,
certain
yeah.
way, there's a chance that Cov and Leicester definitely could be in the final. That would be interesting to see what happens. I mean, I hope it doesn't for our sake, obviously, but I would be intrigued to see as it like, as a neutral how they would deal with that.
You could do win a big one, really. Yeah, I mean, it's been a long time since Wolves have picked up any major
Silver.
silverware, isn't
Oh
it?
yeah, for sure.
81 League Cup
Yeah, the
final.
League Cup. Yeah. So we've not won any major silverware in my time as a fan.
Probably
Um,
74 before then, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
In the 2 League Cups, yeah. So it's been a long time. I mean, we went to Wembley, we got to the semi-final, the first year we came back to the Premier League and threw it away 2 goals up and ended up losing 3-2, and that was disastrous. But thankfully, we got European football at the end of that year, so it wasn't too
yeah.
bad. But we've just got a feeling at the moment under Gary O'Neill. I think obviously you like to avoid some of the big boys, but we've got every chance if we can, a hit at these teams. We've played well. We've beaten City already this year. We've beaten Chelsea twice. We've played well against United. We've played well against Liverpool. So, we've got every chance that something could happen. So, look, we've got to get through this game first. I think it's going to be a tough game, Claudio. I think, Coventry are a good team. Know how to win football matches. How do you think they'll approach this one? Do you think it'll be sort of a low block, try and get Wolves on the counter attack, or is that not how Coventry normally play?
I think that is exactly what's going to happen.
Mm,
My heart's saying, "Come on, have a go," but I've got a feeling it's going to be quite a reserved start to the game. My problem is we start slowly.
mm,
Now, in certain games, we've got away with it. Middlesbrough away, we won, I think, 3-0 or 3-1. Sunderland, we won 3-0 away. Millwall, the same 3-0. In all 3 games, it was a pretty poor start. We didn't get
mm.
going. The keeper made some great saves. And eventually, especially in the second half, we got going.
Yeah,
But the trouble is, when you're playing a Premier League team, it could be over in 10 minutes, you
yeah.
know, if you give you guys plenty of chances. But, I mean, your main players are all sat down at A&E at the moment, aren't they?
Yeah, so I think that's the big boost for Coventry. Mateus Cunha may be back. I think we'll know sort of on our whenever the press conference is. But Neto, I'd assume is out. Hwanki Chan is out. The two of the bigger players for us. So we have got those injuries. But Wolves have got this tendency to struggle against teams sometimes when they play a low block. So I think for Wolves, really the key is to score as early as you can because Coventry have got to then come out and play. And when it's a bit more open, that's when Wolves are really, really good at at putting teams to the sword. Really, so I'm excited for it. If I had to get a prediction off you, Claudio, maybe one from your head and one from your heart, what you thinking score prediction for this game?
Um, your division, I mean, we're a division apart, basically, aren't we? If
Pretty
you look
much,
at it.
yeah.
Yeah. So my head, if I was this is terrible, isn't it, with your own team playing?
Mhm.
I would say, my heart would say it goes all the way to penalties and we sneak it.
Yeah,
My head would, you'd have to say a 2-0 or a 2-1 to Wolves if you're being, if you're being sensible, basically.
yeah,
But it's a cup match. You never know, do you? I mean, when we were here in League Two, we turned over Stoke who were in the Premier League, and Mark Hughes got the sack the next day.
yeah,
I mean, it can happen, can't it? It can
yeah.
happen. And I mean, I know Wolves have been turned over before by lower league teams, so it's not
That's
unusual,
not
is it?
unheard of. No. And I think at this stage of the competition, like I said, the amount of fans that you guys are bringing, I think at Molineux, it's going to be a fantastic atmosphere as well. And I really hope you enjoy your day. Not too much though, Claudio. Enjoy the day, but not the result. But I really appreciate you jumping on Talking Walls, and all the best after this game. All the best to Cov for the rest of the season, because I do hope we can talk again next season, maybe with Coventry as a Premier League team.
That'd be great. Thanks for having me on, and same to you as well. All the best, but hopefully not on Saturday.
Thank you very much, mate. I'll see you soon.
Yeah, pleasure.
So big thanks once again to Claudio. I'll make sure I leave a link to his YouTube channel and the commentary page in the description down below if you want to go and check them out. Really cool guy, and obviously, like I said on the clip there, all the best to Cov for the rest of the season apart from Saturday. I really do hope we get this win. Anything is possible, guys. Semi-final, going to be some tough teams in there, but you fully back Wolves to, to test teams, get results against teams, and fingers crossed that is the case. But do let me know your thoughts and score predictions in the comment section down below. Like I said, any other major news from Gary O'Neill's pre-match press conference will be on the Talking Wolves socials, and I'll do a video on it tomorrow afternoon as well. But as always, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and if I don't see you before, have a great weekend, and I'll catch you next time.